What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Hope Shot. Hope you guys had a great weekend. If you guys just jumping on, say what's up. Let us know you're here. Caesar.
Would you like me to read the clarity statement? Is that what you're saying?
No, I just like saying your name. You know what
All
I
right,
mean?
it's good talking to you. Let me mute myself.
All right, see ya. All right.
Nate, clarity statement.
Nate has found the magic trick. Just to let y'all know, and there's probably gonna be a bunch of it.
I feel like Neo in the Matrix.
Sorry, Joe.
All right. Hope Shot clarity statement. We here at the Hope Shot are a group of people in recovery, spreading inspiration. We come from all different walks of life and pathways of recovery. Our verbiage may be different at times, but we all have one thing in common. Recovery is a lifestyle. We support all pathways of recovery. It doesn't matter how you get from A to Z, just get there. And thank you for being a part of our Hope Shot family.
Thanks, Caesar. Fireworks, Caesar. It's magical. Like I said, guys, who's jumping on, say what's up. Let us know you're here. We got Sarah. Hey. Good to see you in the comments. We got Missy Thang. Oh, man, it's been a minute. Good to see you. So excited finally to catch you live. We're glad you're here. We got Aaron. Good to see you, man. We got Angela from Oakland, California here. And we got Rachel. What's up, Rachel? Hope you guys had a great weekend and full of Christmas stuff. I guess there's a bunch of Christmas stuff going on this weekend. I'm sure parades and Christmas parties and Christmas shopping, everything Christmas. Yeah. Nate's like, meh. Wait. Let's do it. Doing it. There it goes. We got Scott. What's up, Scott? Good to see you. We got Helen. Hello. We got Shauna from Utah. And we got Mike in the house from Washington, Pennsylvania. We got Claudia from Rome, Georgia. Hey, what's up, Shannon? Good to see you. Happy Sunday to you as well. Love you too. All right. Nate, you want to explain the topic for tonight?
I'm starting.
I mean,
you've been served.
If I explain the topic, it'd probably be way off. Just to let y'all know.
All right. So, am I explaining the topic, or do you want me to share as well?
Hold on. Here, I'll tell you what.
Both.
You go ahead. I'll read the quote. You kick it in. I'll read the quote, and then you go.
Okay. Yeah. So the topic today is contempt prior to investigation. Basically, it's these preconceived notions, these prejudices that we have prior to getting into recovery. Well, actually, probably had them before we got into recovery. It's just, an idea that something doesn't work without ever really trying it. Go ahead, Caesar.
All right, so the quote is, there's a principle which is a bar against all information, which is proof against all arguments, and which cannot fail to keep a man in everlasting ignorance. That principle is contempt prior to investigation. And that's by Herbert Spencer.
And real quick before you start sharing, I want to shout out our special guest, Joe. We got Joe D in the house tonight to join us for this contempt prior to investigation.
All right, and I guess I can. Do you want to take off, Caesar, or you want me to go? I'll go.
Whatever you want, brother. I'm here.
Yeah, I'll take it out. Why not?
Full set.
Yeah, so this is a really important topic because this very thing is what kept me sick and suffering for so many years. This very idea that that recovery doesn't work, or there's so many prejudices and things I held in contempt, prior to coming into this deal, because I assumed I had a bunch of assumptions about what recovery was. And my ideas of it was, first of all, y'all were lame. You guys were uncool. I'm so cool though, you know, walking around with borrowed clothes and borrowed money and no hope and no job and no car, but you guys in recovery, man, you guys were the squares. I couldn't conceive of you know, not only joining or, associating with you, but anything you had to say, I immediately judged before it came out because I had this idea of what it was, right? And furthermore, you know, I just I had no inclination or like no desire to even investigate or to even go further, and I think a lot of that has to do with when you're ready type deal. But this is the very thing that can literally kill us, because if I would just had laid down my preconceived notions, my false ideas of what recovery was, because I just thought, how could anything in this world like give me the feelings I felt when I was getting loaded, like it that was my solution. That solved all my problems, right? And I just couldn't conceive of any worthy substitute. And the only way that I could get to a point where I was willing to give it a chance or to, you know, just throw a Hail Mary and try it, regardless of what I thought, was desperation. I had to get to a point where I was just completely beaten up in so much pain, and there were no other options, and it was nothing anybody could really tell me. It's nothing my family could tell me. It's nothing the judge could tell me. It's nothing me losing my daughters. It's nothing me going to prison. Like there was no lesson like pain and desperation. That was the ultimate catalyst. That is what just ripped the scales off my eyes and allowed me to see clearly for the first time. And what happens is in that moment of surrender, there's that little brief window where I'm like, maybe I am worth it. Maybe I do deserve something else. But it is only through like that pathetic, desperate, longing for something other than whatever I've been settling for so many years. It's only in that space where I can say, hey, let me try something different, right? I'm out of options. I'm out of ideas. I have no plans, no schemes, no no idea of what to do next. And in that space, I can finally take a chance. So what happens is I get into this, and what I start discovering is that all of these things that I scoffed at, that I made fun of, that that I judged, um, all of these things, all the sayings, one day at a time, and easy does it, and all these little cliche, um, you know, bumper sticker type sayings are the ultimately end up being the cornerstone of my recovery, and like they form the foundation on what I stand on today. It's like, and but how do you get to that point, right? How do I get to that point of becoming that open-minded, to being, to being receptive to something different? And like I said, it was only through the pain that's what got my foot in the door. And then once I was here and I started doing the work and I started surrendering and I started taking suggestions, I found out that, my life is just a pattern of being running away from whatever I'm afraid of, and being overwhelmed or getting paralyzed and stuck when something is new, unfamiliar, scary, something I'm not good at immediately. I want to just cast aside. I'm terrified of it, right? I can get stuck. And that's what early recovery would to me. That's what it was like to me. It was one of the most scariest times I've ever experienced, because my solution was gone, and now I'm looking for something of equal or greater value, and I have no idea what that looks like. But thank God for like the fellowship, for friendship, for guidance, because I get surrounded by some men who show me how to live again. They show me what it means to truly surrender, to get into this work. And in the process of going through the steps and starting to give this message back, I just uncover like this limitless, wealth of spiritual tools, and just a different way to live. I can't even explain it any better than that. And what I see is, especially as the years go by, is how conditioned I was. Like I hold on to these old ideas, right? And I don't know where I got a lot of these ideas. Maybe some from my family, some from MTV, some from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Who knows? I was, inundated with TV and movies growing up, right? So I have all these, ideas of what my life is, and the lens I see through is filled with insecurity, fear, social anxiety, wanting, comparing myself to others. And I have to start working internally so I can start to see externally a little better. Right. And as I'm doing the inside work, my perspective shifts, and I'm able to finally see the world for what it is. And it's not that everybody's out to get me. It's not that it's, dog eats dog, nice guys finish last, all this bullshit that we hear. It's not that being vulnerable is a weakness, or crying is soft, or any of this stuff that I believed, growing up. And, I have to truly like lay aside all my prejudice and start anew. I have, and most importantly, and this will be the last point I want to make, because I really want to hear what everybody else has to say about this, is I truly have to lay aside my prejudices when it comes to spirituality, right? Because I come into this, you have the Catholicism with the the priest and all that. You know what I'm talking about, all that madness. You have, the Muslim religion, 9/11, I'm thinking, religion's fucked, right? Like I don't want no part in any of that. No. And that's what I associate spirituality with, organized religion. And I get to this fellowship, and they tell me, hey, bud, choose your own God. Imagine that. I get to choose who I want to believe in. And that right there is the single most important factor of this thing that I get to be involved in today. I got to choose who I believe in. I didn't have to, I don't have to go to a church. I don't have to, I get to build my own church, right? I get to figure out what it means to build a relationship with a God of my own understanding. And in that relationship is where I truly start to experience freedom. And what I discovered is that, my concepts are ever evolving. In order for me not to become stagnant in this deal, I was just talking to my girlfriend about this today. I want to be like a newcomer. I want to have that eager willingness to continually seek and redefine what spirituality means to me, what my relationship to God is, and how I see that relationship and that power manifest into my life. But before I get all of this madness and chaos and guilt and shame and resentments and fears and insecurities, yada, 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 before I get that out of me through this beautiful process that is laid out before me, I'm unable to see these things. And I judge stuff because I'm terrified of it. I'm afraid of it, and, but I promise you, and I say this all the time, man, everything I resist or that I hold in contempt before I try it, everything that I'm like unwilling to do or walk through, whatever that looks like, there are the greatest blessings on the other side of that resistance, always just waiting patiently for my dumbass to catch up, to get out of my own way, to trust, and of course, man, you come into this. I don't have trust. I don't know what trust is. I don't believe in myself. How can I believe in something outside of me? I don't believe in friendship. I haven't had these experiences. I haven't had healthy relationships. I haven't had healthy friendships. I haven't had a real job, and I sure as hell haven't had no connection to a higher power, let alone a relationship with it. So, but in this process, when I'm being introduced to these things and I start to form a relationship, I'm finally, it's like the veil has been lifted and I'm able to see things clearly for the first time. And only in that space of like true humility, that I am not in control, that my ideas don't amount to much, and left to my own devices, I'm pretty fucked. If I can stay in that state of humility and I'm able to stay open-minded, teachable, you hear it all the time, remain teachable. I didn't understand what that meant, and today I know it's one of the most important factors in my recovery, because as soon as I think I have it figured out, I'm in trouble. Because I don't want to have it figured out. I don't want the answers. I want to continuously ask for guidance, not only from my higher power, but how my higher power manifests in my life, which is through the fellowship, through strangers, through people, places, and things, if I am open enough to receive the message. How do I get open enough? I have to do things on a daily basis can have a conscious contact. I have to have this relationship. I have to nurture this relationship. I have to stay busy in my recovery, busy in my prayers, busy in my meditation, in order for me to be able to see clearly, to remain open-minded, to give stuff a chance that I've never done before. I want to try new things. And if I judge it before I ever do it, how am I ever going to learn anything new? So, if you're just coming in here and you're like, man, these guys are full of shit. Guess what? I thought the same thing. I thought you guys were full of shit. I thought you guys were just running some kind of game and, there was some type of thing on the back end. That's how I saw everything in life. This recovery deal wasn't no different, but I promise you, if you stick around and get honest and get vulnerable enough and take suggestions, that whole perspective will shift. And it transformed my entire life. It is truly, given me a second opportunity to live and create this, this beautiful life. And I'm just so very grateful for the topic. I'm so grateful that I want to remain open-minded, that I want to, have that true humility where, I can give stuff a chance before, judging it or scoffing it or just, running in a different direction. But I can only be in that space if I'm doing the things that connect me to this power and staying connected to my fellows. So you guys can tell me, and that power can work through them and others. It's truly a magical deal. Very grateful, blessed to be here. Thank you guys.
Thanks, Nate. Yeah, it's a Ponzi scheme, bro. It's a Ponzi scheme. This whole thing is a Ponzi scheme. That's what it comes up with in my mind. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's full of shit. This ain't real, man. Y'all running a Ponzi scheme. I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna find out.
Dude, man, if I was being honest, until stuff got bad enough, I thought that this stuff was for just like losers that couldn't figure it out. I was like, man, you got to be pretty lame to do these 12-step things. Like, I'll figure it out, and I was like 20, and then I was like 30, it's like 35. I was like, oh my God, I'm not figuring it out. Maybe these guys were onto something.
Yeah. No, yeah. They are onto something. Yeah. I'm gonna read some comments and then Joe, you want to share next? Let's hear from Joe. I'm gonna read a few of these comments real quick and then we'll hear from you. Let's see, we got Alfred. What's up, Alfred? We got Rudolph. What's up, guys? Good to see you. Good to see you too, my friend. We got Melissa sober now. Hope you're feeling good. We got Bodie. Hello, everyone. For a long time, how's everyone doing? I'm working 2 jobs now, and I've been busy and still clean. Let's see everyone date March 8th, 2023. All right, man. Hell yeah. Good to see you in the comments, my friend. We got Christina. Hey fam, hope everyone had a great weekend. We have Shauna as February 2019 for hers. We got Crystal. Love the Hope Shot, the journey you all are on. Joseph, I'm hard-headed. Pain is the only way I learn. Yeah. Let's see, Crystal says, I lost my son in 2022, fentanyl overdose. I have since then dedicated my life to living people to and through recovery. Your testimonies are life-changing. Don't stop. We definitely don't plan on it. Promise you. And I'm so sorry for your loss. And that's amazing that you turned it into a purpose, you know. That's what it's all about. We got Addict Junks. Shout out to both pages. Thank you so much. And then that's it. We'll save the rest for after Joe. What's up, Joe, man? Thanks for coming on tonight.
No, what's up, Hope Shot? I'm a grateful guest, first time on the show, and I wanted to comment. First, I want to answer the question. The clean date. My clean date's October 1985, and I remember coming 2 years prior to that. I went to a detox, and I was, they were giving me benzos, and I was drinking iced tea and eating bologna sandwiches, dying to get out of there. And it was a Catholic hospital, so there was a nun there, and she was busted my ass the whole time I was sitting there. And I'm like, what is wrong with this lady? She's religious. And, she said, well, you can't see the forest from the trees and blah, 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 and all this and that. And I was like, man, I just got to get out of here. The next day the counselor came in. And I said, what's up with that nun, man? She's awfully rude. And she said, well, maybe she just told you something you didn't want to hear. I just blew that off. People would, the fellow, the AA and NA would come into the detox, and it was like a free forum. So, I saw somebody come in that I knew that I was using with, and I'd wonder what had happened to them. And they were in there, and they started telling me about going to meetings, not picking up, being involved with this large fellowship, and blah, 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 blah. And, I wasn't feeling none of that. And, so I went to a meeting. They had it in the basement of the hospital. And then when I got out, I went to another meeting, and I met a bunch of people, and, folks were talking about being arrested and just some broken relationships. And I wasn't identifying. So I compared myself out, and I left that meeting. And 2 years later, I was arrested for interstate drug trafficking, possession with intent to deliver and manufacture. I was jobless. I was not homeless, because I had family that would, I had enough recovery capital that I could still maintain and sustain. But, people were 12-stepping my family. And I didn't know that. I just had a newborn son. And my wife and I would go out for a walk, and then would come back, and then my mom was going, oh, so-and-so was here. They were talking about you and, this other stuff, and they were basically explaining the game I was running on them. And it still didn't make me want to stop, but things got bad. My wife went into detox, and, I knew that experience of just that brief contact with 12-step, and it was Narcotics Anonymous and Alcoholics Anonymous, that I went back and I attended a meeting. And I said, well, I'm just going to do this, get these folks off my ass, and another 2-3 weeks, I'll be on my way. And something happened, which it was not my intention to stick around. And I went to a meeting, and then the next night I went to another meeting, and I put one day back of another, and next thing you know, I got about 9, 10, 11 months. So I'm from Pennsylvania. I saw somebody on the call, Washington, PA, and I say shout out to Pennsylvania. And I went to a clubhouse, and I was doing stuff. I was staying away from people, places, and things. I had a sponsor, I had a home group. I was taking people to meetings. I was doing 12-step calls. My whole life was centered in recovery, and I started to develop this like cocky message, like I was doing something. And I was I had talked my friend into going to treatment, and I was chomping at the bit, waiting for him to get out. And he comes home, we start going to meetings. We go to this big Saturday night meeting. I'm shooting my mouth off. And this old timer, he had a real benevolent, kind man. He walked up and he went, "Hey, Joe," he said, "sounds like you're on the fence." And I was like, "On the fence?" I said, "I'm doing all this stuff." He said, "Well, part of surrender is giving up your opinion and your judgment." And I think that kind of leads into contempt prior to investigation. And, I thought I had this. It was like that I was on this fast track to recovery. And little did I know, you can't speed up the process. And that sets you up for blind spots. And I didn't want to hear what he had to say. I ran to my sponsor, and he said, "Well, is any of it true?" And I'm like, I started to feel this like walls caving in on me. I thought I was doing so well. And I'm like, this is what's happening to me. And, God was doing to me what I couldn't do for myself. He was putting people in my life, in my pathway, that were saying stuff to me that were forcing me to take a look at myself. And I don't know if that's part of come to believe, power greater than myself restores me to sanity. I think that's part of that, but I think a major part of it was this enormous group of people and experience was like just encompassing me. And, when you put yourself in the midst of that, sometimes you don't, you either accept it or you run. And for some reason, I wasn't running. So, I started to accept that I needed to have that part of my recovery needed to be expanded on, was humility, and that I didn't know everything. And I heard a comedian somewhere at a convention say, my first thought's usually wrong. So eliminate that off your list. Whatever pops into your mind first is probably based off of emotion and stuff like that. So, I really appreciate the comment, because I was during COVID, I was doing an all recovery meeting, and I picked that out as the topic. And that's not a very popular topic, because people are like, they don't want to be doing any kind of self investigation and like inventory. And what do I need to change? How can I improve on what I'm doing and the way I'm living? So I think it's very important to be able to share my strengths, my weaknesses, my assets, and my liabilities. One of my sponsor, he's still my sponsor today, and he used to share with me his stumbles in life, or what he did wrong, or he had to go make an amends, do a 10th step or something like that. I'd be like, I couldn't conceive that, because I was trying to hide who I was, and I didn't want anyone to know that I made mistakes. Or if I did make a mistake, heaven forbid, I had to go back and tell somebody, hey, I screwed up. I said some inappropriate things, or I acted in a way that's not conducive to the lifestyle I'm trying to live. And, it's all unfolded pretty good for me. I could, over almost 4 decades of my life have been this journey of, ups, downs. A lot of times where things were flat, and I would think, well, there's nothing happening. What am I supposed to be doing? It's like my life's mundane and boring. Well, sometimes that's a good thing, especially when you have other people in your life. Now I have a full life. I live in Melbourne, Florida now, and that's how I met Nate and Justin over at I work in the recovery field. I'm a person in long-term recovery, so I help to engage folks in this multiple pathways to recovery. And that's one of the things that I could not wrap my head around 1, 2, 3, 5 years in recovery. This is the way, and if you don't do it this way, you're not going to make it. And because it was that dogmatic. And I think over the years, folks have realized that certain people can adapt this right away and weave it into the fabric of their life, and other people it takes a different modality or just a different pathway or a different voice, or just not what I do, but the end result's the same. You have a self-directed life. You're living much better than you ever thought you could, and I think it all works. And I'm thankful that I've come to a point where I've grown enough to accept that. So I'll shut up. But thanks for asking.
I love that, Joe, and it's cool that you got the almost 4 decades, and to because to be honest, a lot of old timers, they will not budge from the facts, right? The contentment part of investigation is something that they're just set in their ways, and sometimes that works for them, but on this grand scheme of things, we need to nurture, whatever way that works, because this day and age, it ain't like it was in the old school. You know what I mean? So thanks for coming on tonight, Joe, and sharing. I appreciate you, man. It's so good to finally get you on here. I'm gonna read some comments, Caesar, man, and then you can share, my friend. Let's see. I'm gonna go down here. We got Sarah says, I never went to rehab until my 30s, was addicted all of my 20s. Wish I went sooner, but I don't know if I would have let it work if I wasn't ready. The pain was enough for me to change. We got Christina with 5/6/19, by the grace of God, one day at a time. And what's really cool is I see this comment down here. Sarah has the same one a year later. So that's pretty dope. We got Rachel with 3/9/2020. We have Crystal says, my oldest daughter just entered a program. She's 32, been stuck since she was 19. Her brother was her best friend, forever 28. She's 33 months clean and finally taking steps to take her life back. Recovery is beautiful. She's having to learn to live again in so many ways. That's amazing. Congratulations to her. We got Addict Junction says, set aside all the programmed ideas from family and friends, society as a whole, religion, etc., and coming to an existence of your own through a set of suggested guidelines and the steps to feed you there. And let's not forget the fellowship that to get you there. And let's not forget the fellowship that comes with recovery, a vast group of like-minded individuals who, to some degree, I related so well to. Grateful I found a new way to live. We got Matt. What's up, Matt? I'm right here too. The process of letting go of old ideas has brought me to this limitless place spiritually. That's not going to do it for me. Let's see. We did this thing during the pandemic. Yes. Hey, shout out to the people doing this recovery thing in the pandemic that got it. You know what I mean? That was probably the hardest time to actually make this thing work, and you guys did it. You're here. We have Willa. But now I have 18 months clean. I work for a treatment center. I love my life today. Oh, wait, here we go. It took me 41 to figure it out. But now I have 18 months clean. Okay. Well, congratulations. You are 18 months. We got Kevin Montgomery. What's up? Handsome Nate. I seen a comment right here. We got Rita. Hey, y'all, update. I get moved from Suboxone to Sublocade in a couple weeks. In 3 months, I'll be off mat. Time for me to move forward. That's amazing. Congratulations to you, Rita. That's super. That's just awesome. Taking the steps. We got Kimberly says, my nephew lost his battle with mental health and addiction on Tuesday night via a suicide. I am broken. I'm so sorry, Kimberly, for your loss. If you want, you can reach out to us if you ever need anybody. We're always here. Anytime. We got Pachat. Yeah, I lost my mom 3 days ago. I don't see where my recovery is coming from. I am drinking 7 times more now. I'm so sorry for your loss as well. If you want to reach out to us, maybe we can help you and guide you into whatever that looks like for you. Just reach out to us, message us. We got to point you in the right direction. We got F around recover. That was the meeting topic for me today. Really? Let's see. We have Crystal says, I always tell the ones I love in recovery, I bad day. One bad day. Okay. Thank you, Nate. Sorry. Doesn't take away from all the good days. Shake it off, learn from it, keep growing. All right, Caesar.
All right, Justin.
Okay, man. Like, just calm down. Okay.
So I remember hearing this quote in meetings long before I actually took this deal seriously. And I was like, that's not me. I'm not that guy. But the same person saying that, I mean, I don't know how many court-ordered meetings, 4 rehabs, outpatients, all these things. And these guys would come in and they were offering a solution for free. They were bringing these meetings in, both fellowships. And I just looked at it and went, well, that's great for you guys, but that has absolutely nothing to do with me. That's not going to work for me. And that is the definition of contempt prior to investigation. Now, you can read the quote to me, but it didn't penetrate my thick skull that was exactly what I was doing. And then, you fast forward a little bit. And I remember this guy sat me down and he was asking me about my drinking and my drugging. And he's like, well, that's not so much your problem. He's like, that is what you use to cope with your problem. And now I'm like, this guy's got a drug problem, clearly, because he's talking craziness. I was like, I definitely have a drug problem and a drinking problem and a getting arrested problem. He's like, no, you're suffering from a spiritual malady. I'm like, spiritual malady. What are you talking about? And, my mind just shut off at that point. I didn't hear anything else he said after that because it sounded hokey and it sounded just ridiculous to me. But I didn't know what I didn't know. And I wasn't willing to learn anymore because I still had that last little bit of fight in me that I'm going to figure it out. I don't need y'all's help. I'm definitely not going to sit in these meetings like you losers. Like, I'm not going to do that. I'll figure out a better way to do it. And I tried that. We were talking a little bit before the show. I tried that when I was in my 20s. Tried that when I was in my late 20s. Tried it in my early 30s. Tried it after every rehab. And eventually, I was 37, sitting in a rehab with a bunch of 18 and 20-year-olds. I had just gotten out of another jail where they knew me by name when I walked in and out. Like booking knew me by name. The work pod, everyone in there knew me by name. And I'm like, this ain't working. This is not working for me. And I finally asked for help. And I know I punctuate it with this every time I say it, but I asked for help and I didn't dictate what the help looked like. I didn't go, listen, I need help, but here's the kind of help I need. I didn't do that. I said, listen, I heard you speak today and you shared suffering. You shared loneliness. You shared all these feelings that I'm going through right now. Guilt, shame, remorse, and just, you talked about this obsession in your mind. I still had that obsession. I still had that mind that was like, maybe I can do this successfully somehow. And I got honest with this guy and I told him, how did you go from that to this calm, peaceful, jovial, full of joy, laughing when he's telling the stories, these horror stories, about how he used to live. And I'm like, I want that. I want to be able to do that. And, it took some phone calls. He gave me the little tester, for the guy in rehab. Hey, if you can call me every day, I'll come pick you up. And I called and I called and I called. And he came and picked me up and started taking me through some work. And I thought I knew, just from going to meetings and listening, I thought I knew what this process was. I thought I had an idea. Everything I thought was wrong. Like, everything that I feared, I didn't really need to fear. My reactions to everything in life leading up to recovery were fear-based. If I'm being honest with myself, I didn't want to ask for a sponsor because that sponsor was going to make me do stuff, and I didn't know what that stuff was, and I didn't want to do that stuff. I'd rather figure it out. Unfortunately, I couldn't figure it out, or fortunately, whichever way you want to look at it. But if I could have figured out how to live, I wouldn't have been in that last desperate spot to be able to ask for that help. So it turns out I had to look inward, the last place that I wanted to look, like inside of me. So what you're saying is I'm the problem. Yeah, buddy, you're the problem. Well, crap. I can't just quit me. So I got to work on me. And anyone that knows me, especially my wife, I don't like to write. I'm not like, I don't like to sit and write out long stuff. Nathan's good at writing and expressing himself through that stuff. My wife is good at writing and expressing herself, pen and paper. I hate it. I'm like a, 7-year-old that's just learning how to write. I'm like, oh, it's terrible. I don't want to do this. But that's what he asked me to do, is to put my life down on paper and take a look at it. Judgment free. Just take a look at these things. And then mind you, I'm an extreme case. So this guy, he countered it with similar emotions and similar things that he went through like that. He couldn't really match the shit show that I was putting out there for him, but he could match it with things that he went through, things that he struggled with, the emotions, the guilt and the shame that he went through with some of his actions. And it made me feel better as we talked about it out loud. And I shared things that I swore I would never share with anybody, like some of my lowest points, my crimes and stuff like that, stuff that I hadn't gotten caught for, that kind of stuff. I shared everything. And the funny part was, it had nothing to do with the actual things that I did and everything to do with the defects that I was acting on. Well, why did you do this? Well, I don't know, man. I guess I was just a drugged out guy. No. That's not why you did that. You did this because you were afraid you weren't going to get it if you didn't do this. And you did that because you were afraid of this. And I'm like, crap. It's all fear. Everything I do is fear-based. Every reaction that I have is fear-based. And we joked around because I had written out this list of character defects, and we had talked about fears before. And I did the basic caveman answer. Well, I ain't afraid of nothing. If you've been where I've been, you wouldn't be afraid of nothing either. He wasn't talking about spiders or heights or anything. It was like my whole life has been fear-based. The way I dress, the way I act, the reason that I tell lies, because I'm afraid that if you get to know the real me, you're not going to like me. And I want you to like me, even when I'm at my lowest. Please like me. I'm afraid I'm not going to fit in. All these things. It's this fear-driven life. And he pushed me, eased me, held my hand, and walked me into a faith-based life. Whatever that faith looks like for each person is different. But it's faith in more than myself, which is a good thing because I'm not that great. If I'm the end all be all, that's kind of lame. So I put my faith in something bigger than myself. And The reason I say this whole process is because I turned my nose up to this thing without ever trying it. And the first time that I actually tried it and did it the way that it was laid out, I've been in recovery. I've been sober ever since, going on 10 years now. So that lesson has taught me being closed-minded to new concepts, to different ways of thinking, different religions, different foods, different anything. Look at Nate, different foods. I got to stay open-minded, especially now. So like say 5 years in, now almost 10 years in, the moment I think that I've got this thing licked and I know and I don't need to learn anymore, I'm right back to being screwed because I'm not teachable anymore. So every time that I go to a meeting and we open up our literature, and when I stay in the middle of the boat, when I stay talking to newcomers, I get this new experience out of it because I'm in a different point in my recovery reading those pages than I was the last time. I get a new message. I'm going through something different. I get a new hope. And I have to keep that mindset of staying teachable, staying green, basically, keeping it fresh, hearing new ideas and exploring the new ideas, hearing new concepts and being willing to look at them and not just go, well, I got this thing that's working for me. So whatever you got going on over there, that's great for you, but it won't work for me. That's the same thinking I had before I walked in the door. And I can't afford to put that in my life today. So do I still do it? Of course I still do it. Nate just made a face. I sent him a chicken tenders meme today because it's funny. We get comfortable and we get in our little cocoon of routine, and anything that doesn't fall in line with my little cocoon of my routine starts to look like work, and it starts to look like an inconvenience. And that's me sliding backwards into this lack of growth mindset that makes me stagnant, makes me vulnerable. Because once I stop learning, growing, doing the things that I need to do, I move farther and further from the herd. And for lack of a better analogy, the ones on the outside of the herd are the ones that get picked off. And I don't want to be that. I want to be right in the middle of the pack with the newcomers, with the old timers, with everybody. And I want to continue learning, and everything that I learn, I want to pass on to somebody else to be able to help them. And that's it. Like, there's really no more to strive for than to continue gaining knowledge and passing this thing on, pulling people up behind as we walk forward. And there's really there's no greater joy in life. I think Justin and Nathan and I have talked for sure about, if you're basing your happiness on the next thing, the next external thing, you don't really have happiness, because once you get it, you're going to look at something that's a little bit better than the one you just got, and it's going to be gone. So it can't be anything external that's going to be your joy. It has to be from inside. And if I want to get joy on the inside, that comes from helping others, period. I build good self-esteem by doing esteemable acts. I build crappy self-esteem by doing shady shit, cutting corners. That's all there is to it. I don't want to feel that way anymore. So I keep pushing myself outside of my comfort zone, do things that I don't really want to do, because when I get on the other side of those things, I invariably find that I feel much better than when I don't face the hard things and when I don't push myself outside of this comfort zone that I live in. So it's a kick-ass topic, because I feel like anybody in this deal can absolutely relate to the fact that at some point we looked at this thing and went, and that ain't for me. They said spiritual. That's some monk stuff. They're levitating, and I'm not interested. I've had people knock on my door with that kind of literature, and, I hide because I don't want them to see me. But as soon as I dropped all those preconceived notions of what I thought I knew, that's when the growth happened. Once my ideas were pushed aside for new ideas. So that's all I got.
Awesome. Yo, Caesar. You hit on some really good topics, really good points, I should say, not topics, but really good points on all this. You know, it brings me back to thinking like that terminally unique, you know, that terminally uniqueness, you know, that we all suffer from coming into this recovery is like nobody knows what I've been through. This ain't gonna work for me. Like I've been through too much shit. I've been to prison too much. I've done too many drugs. I'm wired, fucked up. It might work for them. It's never gonna work for me. You know, that's what all this is pretty much, man. That contempt prior to investigation, instead of trying to see if maybe it might work, maybe just maybe, you know,
Dude,
it might work.
it's hilarious though. Like at one point I was like, man, I'm not as bad as these people. I don't got to come in here and do this crap. Look at these people are really messed up. And then you fast forward a few years later and I'm like, I'm way worse than these people. They can't fix me. You know what I mean? So it's like, you can't win either way. I'm like, I'm either too far gone or I'm a little bit better than you. But either way, I wasn't hearing what they were offering.
Yeah, because you should just shut off. You shut off from what they're trying to offer. Like I already know. I don't need any more information. I got it. All right, I'm gonna share them and then I'm gonna read some comments. But so you know that's pretty much my whole life, man. I'm a know-it-all. I know it all. You know, you can't tell me shit. You know what I mean? I've got everything on my own. I'm independent. You know, to a fault. You know, I needed to take suggestions. I needed to deflate my ego. And because even in my weakest of times, my ego was so inflated. And I don't know how that was, but it was, you know, like you can't tell me nothing because I had all these resentments towards people, towards my, you know, my the people that have done me dirty, my childhood, my parents, everything, you know. And I took all those and put it with these, so you couldn't tell me nothing because I already have this thing about who you are, right? You're already like done in my book, right? And that's another thing I try to work on these days. When somebody like gossips to me, right? The gossip, that stuff gets you in trouble. And they put this little seed in your brain that about this one person, and now you're looking at them and you just don't look at them the same way. And it's pretty much you already put this this persona on them, and they're done. They're over. You can't be friends with them because your other friend told you about them. And I do that a lot. And that's that judgment, you know, that I'm really working on that lately, is that self-righteous stuff. I've been really trying to work on, because I can get caught up in my recovery and look at all these things. I'm up here and like blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, man, bro, you're not even scratching the surface. Just calm your ass down. Right. I'm not. I found that out. Like, I'm telling you, like my head just popped out of my ass. And now I could get some, right? Now I can probably start recovering the right way, because all these other times it's like I had to prove myself. I had to prove, I don't know what I was proving, to be honest with you. I had to get somewhere, and I was always like trying to one up people, and it wasn't working, you know? It wasn't working. And luckily I do take suggestions pretty well. It just depends on who's giving the suggestions, to be honest with you. It just depends on who's giving the suggestions. But I do a good job at saying, you know, let me look at this. You know, if somebody says something to me about something, only because I've had experience with, I got that self-righteous thing back when I first got in recovery, and I didn't look at it because the person that gave it to me, nah, bro, you know, no. I'm not self-righteous. How dare you, you know? And now that looking, and I've grown some, he was absolutely right. And I sit here and I'm like, damn, bro, I really need to start taking a look at some things. And even with the messenger who's giving that message, who so what? You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be a pretty bow, But if I look at something, I probably don't have to suffer as much if I actually take a look at it, understand it, and then go from there, you know? And maybe it is trash, maybe it isn't, who knows? But I'm in this ego mind where I'm not, no, I'm not. You're crazy, you know? But I'm glad that now I can take I can take more suggestions now, because anytime I look at myself, anytime that I get that closed mindedness, man, I'm never going to grow. And this whole life is about growing. You know, every year I have experienced a new, I feel like every month lately, it's been a new form of growth. But um, every year there's a new me being produced. There's new experiences, new lessons. You know, and if I'm closed minded to the message from other people, that message might save my life. I don't know. But if I'm sitting here, you know, because of who it is, they're probably the ones that give me the most message. And that's crazy to think sometimes because, um, you know, but, um, you know, I actually sat down today and was talking about, you know, the whole higher power thing. And I struggled with that for a long time, long time. And, because I had to put like a name on it. I need facts, you know? I'm a factual person. I'm analytic. I need facts on some things instead of having faith. You know, I need something that's going to hit me in the head, or a lightning bolt come out of the sky, or maybe some laser beams. Um, or maybe some fireworks, you know? But and it would scare me sometimes. Like I would never go into, I didn't like going, I never went to church with Tiffany because I don't know, man. I wasn't open-minded enough, like to hear the message of what's going, like what they have. Because if you really listen, it's all the same. Everything is the same. Okay. There's language, the way they do it. There's different steps to do things. There's different this, that, and the other thing. But if you really think about it, the message is all the same, man. And I've gotten some good stuff out of everything. You know, I've gotten good stuff out of AA, NA, church. I could get some stuff out of Mara. I could get everywhere. You know, that's why the path of recovery, and you know, they say A to Z. That's why we say that A to Z. You know, it doesn't matter how you get there. We're all going to Z, you know, and like that Z is the same. We're just on this path together, you know? And who am I to judge somebody else by their path? So yeah, man, I'm super grateful for this topic. Open-mindedness came up today when I was doing some things and some writing. I don't like writing either, Caesar. I do not like it. I don't like reading. I don't like writing. But when you do that writing, it opens that mind. You know what I mean? It opens that mind to try to like really sit there, you be by yourself and open your mind and jot it on paper and get it out. Right. And it's something I had to work on too with writing, because I look like I have chicken scratch sometimes. Like I might as well do it in crayon, right? Because I can't even read it half the time, but I do it anyways because my mind is open. Somebody told me to do it, and he says that's the way to do it, and that's what you're gonna do, and I do it, you know, because this is what's gonna save my ass down the line, and it's gonna help me save somebody else's. It's gonna help me help somebody to save their ass down the line, right? And that's what it's all about, man. It's passing it on if you're open-minded enough to receive it, right? So that's all I got.
But what's funny is how quick we'll listen to other people about other stuff, though. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, when we joined that group and we were getting all that new information and videos and all of this, we're like, yeah, we're going to do that. But somebody tells us, hey, you want really good recovery? You should try this. We're like, no, I don't want to try that. You know, like any other aspect of my life, I'm completely open-minded to trying these new marketing tactics. And I'm open-minded to trying new ways to streamline my business and this and that. But somebody tells me about my recovery and I just want to snap it shut. No, I've already got recovery down pat. I'm good. I'm good now. I don't need your advice. And that's when I got to check myself, because then I'm like, oh, I'm doing that thing again. I'm in trouble. I'm running the show. I got fired from my life for poor performance as the manager. So I'm fired. I don't get to make those decisions anymore. I brought in a higher power to manage my life for me, and he's the boss. Yeah, let's do it. So
Somebody else.
I laugh about that. I talk about my life being unmanageable. What makes me think I can manage it any better now? I've got a whole history that shows that I'm a piss poor manager. So I'm fired, and I remain fired. And the God of my understanding is the manager now.
I love it. We got new management. Sorry, we're closed for spiritual growth.
Cesar Rodriguez under new management.
Yeah, remodeling.
Construction in progress.
Yeah, it might be months. Who knows? It might be years. Who knows?
It's going to be decades, Bubba.
Yeah. All right. Well, good stuff tonight, guys. Yeah, Joe, again, thanks so much for coming on. I appreciate your perspective. It's always good to have some fresh perspective up in here. You know what I mean?
Heck yeah.
I'm gonna read a few comments, man. That's it. We're gonna close out. Let's see. We got Crystal says that's the real flex right there. Awesome testimony, Caesar. Let's see. We have Christina says that old stinking thinking. Thanks for sharing, Caesar. We had Spirit Speaks Psychic Medium, Heidi. I had 11 years clean and sober, fell away and relapsed. Thank God I've been back on course for 5 years now. Can't slip up. Congratulations on your 5 years. Yeah, man, we gotta stay open-minded. That's it. As soon as we close that mind, we're in trouble. We in trouble. Like Houston, there's a problem. And we have sober now, Melissa. Thanks, Hope Shop, for another solid hour of recovery. Have a great week, everyone. And Crystal says those uncomfortable steps are the hardest ones to take, but so worth it. Look at you guys. That's right. They're the hardest, but the most important. Yeah. Rita says that's what I've done. I got so much different information and it works for me because I want it to work for me, I think. Implementing God into my life completely transformed me. I was stagnant until then. Melissa, that's one thing I'm pretty good at is not judging someone by rumors or gossip. I was the girl before addiction, judging people horribly. Then I found recovery and realized I judged all the people and I did the same things. How dare I? I look at people for what I see, not for what people tell me. And that's the truth. And it's like, it's like almost like people give you the information and then like your automatic judger goes into play, right? It's like, and you gotta learn to defuse that automatic judger and have your own experience, have your own experience with people, because if not, man, we can get caught up real quick, and then we put this persona on somebody that's not even true, if we're not careful. Man, I gotta plug my damn laptop in. We're about to end it anyways. How much better? I forgot. Oh yeah. Okay, we're good. Thanks for sharing, Melissa. And let's see. I think that's it, man. Thank you all for being here tonight, man. We really appreciate you guys commenting, being here, supporting, always rooting for us. Always here to listen, sharing your stories, your clean dates, everything with us. We appreciate y'all. We do this every Sunday, 8 p.m. live right here in the Hope Shot. And then we also have our audio podcast, which we take all our audio, we put it over there to the audio podcast. So you could take us anywhere you have, you listen to podcasts. If you guys ever have a bad day, you can always just click it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever that looks like. And you can hear us talk, ramble, whatever, and yada stuff. You know what I mean? All right, that's it. Let me hold up. Let me get this done. Boop. All right, y'all. I hope you guys have a great week. Love y'all. See ya.